And you want to have a Inside Out
Oh yeah, we got
movie review?
rock paper scissors for it.
You could go first. I don't care.
Hey Van, okay, Inside Out. What it's like to be inside, see what's going on inside your own head. It was good. It was interesting. It's definitely an original, but it's not. But it's not great like a Toy Story or a Frozen. But it's that. But it's somewhere. But it's somewhere up there. I know you're probably gonna see it at some point.
Maybe. I don't know. People are like back and forth for it. I think there's like mix of it.
Wait, how many reviews do you actually see when a movie comes out, or it already? Well, yeah, how many reviews do you see overall for a movie?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like people have said that it's cute. I've talked to people who have brought like their kids to the movie and see it. They've usually said that like it was cute, but at the same time, there's like stuff in there that's like a little wink wink for the adults,
Oh, you
which
mean
which they do in almost every
Disney
animated
film
movie.
or
Right?
Disney film?
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, it's the commonality. But yes, as I already said, it's an original film. Good concept of how it was interesting seeing the chemistry of how the emotions of like joy, anger, and all the other emotions work together to function the person that's inside. Oh, great! I came to function as this well-oiled machine trying to. I forgot the main character's name. Okay, the characters that they're controlling the kid by making them feel whoever they need to feel. It was just an interesting adventure overall. But yes, I would recommend this. Well, I would still recommend it to you, but you probably wouldn't think of it as a great film though.
Yeah, I just can't get into animated movies nowadays.
You saw
I
the
just,
Lego Movie.
that's the only thing. That's the only one. I think that's the last animated movie I saw.
I'd still see to a Hotel Transylvania too, but it's not going to be anything great. But I still see worth seeing.
Hmm. Either anything animated to do with Legos or Toy Story, I would be in
Well,
for
of
these
course, Toy
days.
Story 4. Well, he already got rumors about what is, but good thing you're not spoiling me. Wait, do we even have a date yet, or even what year? No, I think it's still to
I
be announced.
I think it may be at 2017. It's going to be released.
Oh, great! Now it feels like 2016 and 2017 seem to be heavily packed with great blockbusters. Oh wait, now I gotta start the hype train. No, now I gotta start the hype train for a few movies that we could talk about after Inside Out. I guess was we can start now since I don't really have much more to say for Inside Out. Although
Well,
yes,
what would you give it out of 10?
I can I guess I can give it an 8.2 or so around that range. But stop the hype train for next year for next summer,
Well,
and
we kind of already said a lot of things that we wanted to see.
we never talked about Independence Day resurgence. Oh, that's not even the right word, but
I think that is the right word.
resurgence. Wait, that's actually a word, resurgence.
Research. Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't know
how
if
you
it's
say it.
resurgence or if it's a different word.
I don't know
but
the exact. Yeah, but I think it's somewhere.
but I expect this. Yes, they'll say this will be a summer blockbuster, but I won't say it's gonna be the most awesome film, even though the first movie was great.
I just don't understand this. This is a movie that doesn't even need a sequel.
Mm, yeah, well, it makes sense, but hey, it's cool. It would be cool. Well, I don't remember when, but at some point after seeing the first Independence Day, I was like, huh, I wonder what they're gonna do afterwards, or at least I wonder what things are gonna be like afterwards as they rebuild everything from scratch and repopularize and so on and so forth. But now we get the sequel, and unfortunately, Will Smith is not included in this film.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even like psyched to see it.
I'm not psyched either, but I'm interested to see where they could go from here.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna, or I'll see the trailer and see and give my judgment on whether to
And
see it
if
or
it
not.
excites you, then maybe you might have an interest.
I doubt the trailer would excite me, but you never know.
Yes, what? You think there's gonna be, oh, we're gonna, from out of nowhere, we're gonna randomly bring the aliens back and destroy everything just like the first film.
it's just sad that they have to do sequels of movies that like doesn't need sequels, but they just do it because they have just no other ideas.
Hit me with 3 movies that did need a sequel.
That didn't.
Yes.
Well, first one was Independence Day.
Well, okay, that's not Independence Day.
What do you mean?
That's not Independence Day. You have to use 3 other movies.
Besides Independence Day?
Yes. Almost every movie that I can think of was good with the sequel. Yeah, good. Yes, good use of sequel.
Off the top of my head, I can't really like explain. I can't really say what didn't need a sequel. I guess. Yeah, I don't really know off the top of my head what movie didn't need a sequel, but this is just one of them.
The very few.
I guess very few.
Because what can you do? What can you do without a sequel? You got to continue the story. Of course, yes. While in the process, make more money, but all depends if it's the right decision. Well, Ted 2. Well, okay. I'll think of that as one movie that I think that really didn't need a sequel. But then again,
that didn't really need a sequel. But
it was fine all by itself, even though I didn't see the film. But
I'll get to the review of that later on.
And other movies. Well, I got to go back on Movie Pilot and catch up on which movies are coming out next year. But I think we're gonna get a. No way! I think that's already canceled already. The Insidious 6 Spider-Man film, which has been canceled because I forgot which reasons, but I think it was because of what happened in Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Gwen Stacy dying. It kind of led to, oh, we actually regret doing this. Someone regretted this, and then we had to scrap everything altogether. And now we have a new Spider-Man, which is played by I do not know.
I forgot his name, but he's like 19 years old.
Wait, have you heard of him before?
Not that I know of, no.
Huh. I guess I'll ask this now. Every time you see a movie that you're interested in, do you have that and it involves actors that you've never heard of? Do you have this mentality of like, okay, let's see what this person or these people have to offer for these roles, and can they deliver?
Well, for me, it's like, if I don't care about who's in the movie, to me, it's like if the story's good, I'll see it. If the story looks good, I'll see it.
But the characters have to matter too.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, all right, this story looks good. Let me see let me see what these guys could do. Or see what this movie could do. So that's just my mentality, into a new movie with new actors.
So overall, it's just story matters more than the characters.
At first, for me, I mean, the characters matter too.
It's what helps make the story.
Yeah, but it's like they try to see more of the story than the characters.
Well, then we get extra clips and trailers, and they show you more.
But when you see the whole movie, then you know like who the characters are and all that.
All right, that makes sense.
What other movies for 2016, or was
I guess you can start with Ted 2, and then we'll get back into that discussion.
All right. So I saw Ted 2 on Friday.
And does it beat the original?
No. But
as usual, yeah. Of course.
But the plot was kind of. There was like loopholes to the plot because the plot of this movie was where Ted was newly married with the girl he dates in the first one, who's Tammy Lynn, that he met in the supermarket, and they get married in the beginning, and like they're like fighting at first because that's what couples do, and they haven't been getting along, so they decide, and Ted says, oh, well, what could save this marriage? And then he realizes, well, if the only way for us to get along is to have a baby.
Wow, that's kind of... You need a baby to help... Well, that can work while already working on the relationship of, like, if the baby's just the main center of, okay, this is what's going to help bring us together. It's kind of upsetting or somewhat a bit sad, but As long as you care about the child, then that, I guess that at the end of the day, that's what really matters.
So they decide to have a baby, but it turns out, obviously since Ted is a teddy bear, he doesn't have a penis. So
Any privates?
yeah, so he has Mark Wahlberg, his friend, and he's been out of the game for a while. Mila Kunis wasn't in the movie. I was kind of disappointed she wasn't even in it. She was in the first one. She played his girlfriend, but they did a story where she left him, and he's on his own now.
Again.
So he has Mark Wahlberg to like donate his
Stuff.
yeah, his stuff for the baby, to make the baby.
And then such and such incident occurs where more stuff is poured on him.
Yes.
And he crashes into it. Grr Mondays.
Oh man, that was funny. It was disgusting to see because they actually showed what happened to him. Obviously, they can't show that in the trailer, but it was disgusting. But yeah, it was funny at the same time.
Yeah. I'm sure when they made this film, that wasn't actually real.
Yeah, but that didn't work because then they realized that her ovaries were compromised, so she could never have a baby biologically. Like she can't ever give birth ever, because in her past she took too many drugs and that killed her whole system.
That sucks.
So they decide, let's adopt
A baby.
because that's the only way they could do it. So, but then that went into the main issue, the main plot of it, where Ted can't be a parent because he is deemed property by the state, and it turns into a whole lawsuit where he's not property, he's a person, and that's just pretty much the whole plot.
And in the end, well, we can't spoil that.
Yeah, I mean, and there was loopholes to this too, like, because in the first one, it looked like he was a person, like he had a job and everything, an apartment, and he was paying bills like a normal human being.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden we get to Ted 2, and it's like, couldn't you think of this in the first one? He's a teddy bear. Didn't you know this before?
I don't know.
Yeah. It was just that whole loophole, and it's like, well, if you know he's a teddy bear, why'd you hire him?
This is ridiculousness right now.
But I can't complain too much about this movie. That's my only complaint about it, or only loophole about it, because like the jokes obviously were Seth MacFarlane classics, yeah.
And overall, the movie was
I wore my Family Guy shirt in honor of Ted. And just overall it was funny, but not as, I guess not as entertaining as the first one, but it was funny. I'll admit, there was stuff that really, really like made me laugh.
It's a 9 point something, but
I'd give it, out of 10, I'd give it an 8.9.
Well, for me, when it comes to 8s and 9s, 8's good, or it's good, and 9's just great. But I wonder why it's not even in the 9 section.
I guess it was because of the loophole for me, just thinking about it too much, thinking about it, deeply.
Okay, fine. Well, here's
but everything else was fine.